Welcome to Inside the Audition, the podcast where we go behind the scenes for a deep dive look into the world of auditions. I'm Joe Lars Larson, creator of Actors Audition Club, an international community helping actors book your dream roles in TV, film, and theater.
And I'm Brandon Knox, actor, producer, and co-host. Each episode, we chat with actors and industry professionals to share their audition experiences, insights, and advice.
We provide actors with actionable tips, strategies, and resources to help you elevate your auditions.
We demystify the often intimidating and misunderstood world of auditions to help you succeed.
So whether you're just starting out on your acting journey or you're a seasoned pro, join our Actors Audition Club members as we go
Inside the Audition.
Hey!
What up?
Welcome to episode 131.
Yeah.
Nice to see you, Brandon.
Great to see you, Lars. How you doing?
You look real happy. Did you happen to celebrate a birthday this week?
Oh, I did celebrate a birthday this week. Turned 32 this week.
Wow. Happy birthday. And
Thank
I just wanted to say, real from the bottom of my heart, I just wanted to tell you, there's no easy way to say this, so I'm just going to out and out say it.
What happened? Lars?
Oh, man, that's how you start a podcast. I just want to apologize to all the listeners at home. I'm sure a exploding balloon inches away from the microphone may have medically injured your ears. And if that's the case, we take zero responsibility. We have no insurance. We can't help you in any other way except say we are sorry. Listen at your own risk. I think somewhere there's a disclaimer on podcasts that says listen at your own ear risk. Welcome. It's just me. It's me. That wasn't us. For everyone who was watching that, I'm Lars. This is Brandon. Those other guys were not us.
No.
But they did look exactly like you. That balloon. Let's see your balloon again. I want to see it. Put the hat on your balloon and maybe put the cans on too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. This is it. This is a perfect spitting image.
Wait.
This is great because all I need is a balloon and it frees you up when you're not available. We just need this balloon to fill in for you. Yeah, that's Brandon Knox. That is Brandon Knox right there.
Hey.
You're a little, that's jaundiced Brandon Knox. You should get that skin condition checked out. All right, welcome everyone. This is episode 131. Make sure if you're watching live on Facebook or YouTube, smash that share button. And I mean smash it. Actually smash it. Try to break a button on your device by strashing it so hard. That's how hard you want to share this with other people on the internet right now. And we should let everyone know at Actors Audition Club, quick reminder before we get into today's episode, we are relaunching, they're coming back, our Tuesday and Thursday weekly workout sessions. Tuesdays, we're going to call them Tune-Up Tuesdays, and Thursdays are Thespian Thursdays from 6 to 9 p.m. Eastern. Tuesdays are online. Thursdays are in person here in our Toronto studio. So if you need a place to sharpen your craft in between auditions and in between your classes, those are group classes with a limit of 8 spots. One of our directors will run you through a voice and speech workout. Then we're going to run through monologues, scene study, have lots of fun. There'll be some audition Q&A and some roundtable opportunities to share resources with other actors at those sessions. But you can claim your spot starting Tuesday, March 21st, first day of spring. Spring is almost sprung, and you can join Tune-Up Tuesdays, Thespian Thursdays, starting March 21st and March 23rd. Go to laughingvikings.com/workouts, and you can join those. I'm excited for those. You pumped for those, Brandon?
Oh, I'm very pumped for it. I was writing down my lesson plan for the first class. So,
look at you go! Yeah, they got used to be a big part of Laughing Vikings and Actors Audition Club every Tuesdays. We used to do something called Actors Underground here. And then the pandemic happened and we just never started doing in-person stuff. So I think we're in the clear.
Nice.
We're gonna start having 8-person in-person things. Nice. All right. I don't want to waste any other time. Not that this is a waste of time, but it is compared to our guest, I think. We have a fantastic guest today. We're going to roll a clip for a little intro, and then we're going to get him in here to the studio. Brandon, roll the clip.
And the thing is, I don't trust the legal system. I don't trust lawyers. The only lawyer I think I'd trust is a Southern lawyer. You know, the lawyers in all those Grisham movies who just are, you know, they have it. They have something. They're more than the law. Well, it's mighty hot in here today, isn't it, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? It's mighty hot, Your Honor. Prosecutor. It is mighty hot in here today. You know what would go down just fine right now? An ice cold glass of lemonade. Wouldn't that be fine? An ice cold glass of lemonade. But this is not a lemonade stand! This is a court of law! There will be no lemonade! There will be only justice. Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Now, the prosecutor is a big city lawyer. Yes, indeed, a big city lawyer with his fine suit. He has probably gone to law school to learn about the law. Well, I never did get around to that, my highfalutin friend, but I'll tell you what, I know the difference between right and wrong. Thank you. And I think you of the jury know that too. And that is what I'm counting on here today. Because, as is well known, the prosecutor has slept with small children. Withdrawn! Withdrawn, Your Honor. I withdrew it, though you all heard it. Withdrawn. Now, the prosecutor is going to show you a parade of evidence. He's going to show you a parade of witnesses. But I do not have to tell you that in every parade, you're going to see a lot of clowns, ladies and gentlemen. There are going to be clowns in little cars riding around, the knees stuck out. There are going to be clowns walking around throwing candies to the kiddies. There's going to be clowns walking on their hands with their heads where their crotches should be. I do not understand it. My client is charged with 17 counts of first-degree murder. 17 counts of first-degree murder. It's a mighty high cliff to climb. And I'll tell you, the prosecutor is going to show you evidence. He's going to show you photographs of my client stabbing each and every one of his victims, turning to the camera, giving the thumbs-up sign. Why he hired a professional photographer to follow him on his killing spree, I have no idea. But you know what? You know what I say to you? Today, you and gentlemen, ladies of the jury, you are the law. You are the law, not some book, not some bag of nuts, not some hat on an old woman. None of those things are the law. You are the law. You know, my wife today, she said to me, isn't that prosecutor the one who once fisted a cat? Withdrawn! Withdrawn, Your Honor. Withdrawn. I withdraw that. That's neither here nor there. Now, my wife, on my way out of the house today, she said to me, did you not put your pants on backwards? And I said, well, look at that. I guess I did. So now when I walk into the courtroom, will they know if I'm coming or I'm leaving? How will they know if I'm leaving or if I'm coming? And if you're confused by my pants today, how can you know if my client is guilty? You must recuse yourself. Right now, I call for a dismissal. If my pants confuse, you must recuse. If my pants confused, you must recuse. The defense rests. I am Sean Cullen. Good night.
Oh my God, my cheeks hurt. I love that bit. We'll talk more about it. Our guest today, he's a multiple award-winning, multi-talented performer, triple Gemini, Canadian Comedy Award winner. He's made appearances on Tonight Show, The Late Late Show. He's got comedy specials on Comedy Central Presents, Comedy Now. He was a finalist on Last Comic Standing. You might know him as a member of Corky and the Juice Pigs. He's also an author. You've seen him in television, film. We literally could do an entire other episode of the podcast just where we talk about all the incredible things he does. We should have a credits podcast for some of these guests. And on top of all these accolades, I've got the pleasure of performing with him coming up March 31st. We're going to be in Bracebridge at Bracebridge Hall. You can get tickets for that at laughingvikings.com. Welcome, Sean Cullen, everybody.
Hello, it's me.
Hello.
Well, it's wonderful to see you all.
Yes, it's nice.
We're
to see you
shifting.
too.
We're shifting sides. I don't know if you see that. Is that just me or the frames moved around?
That's Brandon. Yes, there's method to the madness.
Look at that.
Yeah. Give him the whole rundown, Brandon. Show him what we can do here.
Oh, I can make you a bigger screen. Sean.
What?
I can
Stop
do
it.
this, and I can just make it you.
Hi.
Hey,
There you go.
You're pretty amazing. I don't think my head should be that big compared to yours. There we go. It gives people the wrong impression.
Right. Well, welcome. Thank you for doing the podcast, and thank you for doing that show in Bracebridge. I know Bracebridge they're pumped. I actually went to high school with one of the owners of Bracebridge Hall. That's my connection. We were running monthly shows there pre-pandemic, and we're just starting to fire up regular shows again. So
good.
They are all very excited for March 31st. Now I want to. Well, first of all, I just got to say that Southern Lawyer bit is one of my favorite bits ever. That's I quote the law is not a lemonade stand. I quote that all the time. It's one of my favorite things. I think I was back in the day. I think I saw you workshopping that at the Rivoli. You probably warming up for Just for Laughs, and you blew the place. You blew the crowd away with it that night. So yeah, love it.
That's a fun bit. I really enjoy it just because it's nonsense. Like it's not about anything. It's dumb. And but it's still I just love if you can find a character you can really lean into, it's really fun. And I love accents and I love, dialect. So it's just really satisfying to see and talk like that. There's a real sense of this guy should know what he's talking about, but he doesn't at all. So it's good.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's brilliant. All right, we want to get started. We have a little a favorite segment here called the 1 minute life story. Brandon is going to clap you in. He's then going to show a stopwatch for 60 seconds. All right, Brandon, let's do it.
Okay. This is Sean Cullen's 1 minute life story. Take one.
Hi,
Action.
I was born in 1965, August 29th, in Peterborough, Ontario. My mother's a nurse. My father was a factory worker, and I had two older siblings, two younger siblings. I went to Catholic school, which meant I was beaten often. And then I found that I loved playing sports, but I knew I'd never be good enough. So I started doing drama after I lost. I couldn't do sports anymore. So then I got a job in a dinner theater in Peterborough. And then I saw that there was an audition process going on at the university's acting program. So I auditioned for that and I got in. And then I went and I met two guys. We formed Corky and the Juice Pigs. And we started touring together. It went really well for about 10 years. Then I got tired of that and I went on my own, started doing things. Things went very well. I did a one-man show, got some deals in Hollywood, and now I'm back here.
Oh.
Ding, 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 ding. That was correct.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
That was great.
I tried.
Oh, you did great.
If I don't know.
You were right on time.
Yeah, I saw it was there. So I was gonna end it. I spent too much time in my childhood. Who cares?
That was a huge part of your
No,
life, Sean.
That's the stuff
Well-
people don't know about.
Well,
Everyone
the thing
knows
is,
the showbiz stuff.
as you get older, you realize how small a portion of your life your childhood really is. It's very small, and then you're just flailing as an adult, dealing with the damage you incurred as a child for the next 40, 50, 60, 70 years. And people are like, why is he such a dick? You say, well, as a child, he was trapped in a hobo's carriage. I don't know what that meant, but you know
That'll
what
do
I
it.
mean. Something happens.
That'll do it.
Being
If I had a
trapped
ni-
in hobo's carriage.
Yeah.
If I had a nickel for every time I've been trapped in a hobo's carriage.
Listen,
Big
it's
old
not
bag of
pleasant.
nickels.
It's not pleasant.
No, being trapped in a regular carriage is not the best of times. But a
Definitely not
hobo's
one of the
carriage-
5 wonders of the world. That's for
No.
sure.
Hobo's carriage is right below Drifter's pants. So, not a fun time.
Sounds
No.
like a good book title.
Yeah.
Autobiography,
I'd
Hobo's
read
Carriage.
Drifter's Pants.
Maybe an
I'd
album
read
cover?
From a Drifter's Pants to a Hobo's Carriage. The Sean Cullen story.
Yeah. There and Back Again by Bilbo Baggins. Look how far he's come from
Yeah.
from
See, a
Drifter's
hobo,
Pants to Hobo's Carriage.
a hobo's kind of a fun character. There's almost a clownish kind of sense to him. But a
Right.
drifter, there's danger there.
Right.
Am
Yeah.
I right?
Drifter's got a
Mhm.
shank. Hobo's
Yeah.
just got the stick with the red satchel on the back.
Yes, it's a hanky that he has
Right.
taken all of his possessions and wrapped it up in there.
Right. The
So
hobo's
sad.
probably got a can of beans, just an open can of beans that he's sharing around an open fire.
Yeah.
But the drifter killed something. The drifter killed a raccoon, and that's what he's eating.
Well, the drifter is drifting for a reason. He's a
For a
murderer.
sense of adventure?
Yeah, probably. Probably. I'm going to say yes.
Well, now that we've covered the hobo drifter debate that we had planned here, we also want to talk about your showbiz origins, and someone we've got some audience questions coming in as well. But I would like to ask you, what was your first audition that you successfully won, aka your first professional booking?
Okay, professional booking. I have to say, I've auditioned for things. I don't know. Let me think. What was the first thing I auditioned for that I got? After I left university, I auditioned for a Butterfinger candy bar commercial.
Yes.
Where I was running up and down and hiding behind posts, trying to get close enough to steal a Butterfinger from someone. It was dumb, but it paid me money. It was the first time my parents went, "Oh, he's on television. He must be successful."
Right.
And yeah, I wasn't really, but I got I got Butterfingers, which was nice.
Yeah, you got paid in product too?
I got some product. Yes.
On the day. Nice. Is that the nobody better lay a finger on my Butterfinger campaign? Is that what it was?
Might have been. It's been a long time. I was wearing a puffy yellow ski jacket. That's all I remember about it. And I didn't
And running
enjoy it.
around? Oh my God, that must have been scorching hot.
It was very weird. Yeah, I think it was done sometime in the fall. It wasn't that hot, but it wasn't that nice either. I'm trying to think. God, I was performing with the Juice Pigs for about 10 years, so I never really auditioned that much because we did our own thing and kind of did our show. The first time I remember getting a real job from an audition would have been, God, the first audition I really remember is probably auditioning for The Producers.
Nice.
And Susan Stroman, who was the director and choreographer for the show. And so I auditioned for her, and it went really, really well. I really wanted to get the job because I loved the show. And so I remember that going well. I really enjoyed that. But I was very prepared. Yeah, auditions are hard and stupid.
Was that one on stage in a theater?
It was in a rehearsal room.
Gotcha.
Yeah. But I've had strange audition moments that I don't understand. Like, the show Spam-A-Lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's big on Broadway. So I was working and doing some Christmas show up in Toronto, like one of those pantomimes. And I got a call saying they wanted me to audition for Spam-A-Lot, the King, which was played by Tim Curry on Broadway, King Arthur. So I sent them a tape of me singing the song and, doing some reading. And they said, come on down, but we can't afford to fly you down. You have to pay your own way. And, get an apartment, but we'll get not an apartment, but a what do you call it? A hotel room.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get a car for you to come downtown and get you back to the airport. So I said, okay. And I'd be auditioning for Mike Nichols, who is the director of the show and also a film director.
Yeah.
And so I go in and it's just me on stage in the theater. I'd seen the show the night before. Then I'm on the stage. All the sets are there. One of the guys from the show, a guy who's in the chorus, is doing the scene with me. He completely upstages me through the whole thing, like making everybody laugh, and they're just, and I'm just sitting there going, I could kill you. Just say the lines. Say the lines. Like, we're not here to audition you, you asshole. Anyway, and so he kind of, hung me out to dry on that. And then they said, well, sing the song. So I had to sing this song that I'd worked on, and they'd seen me sing it on a tape. And then Mike Nichols, after I finished, he said, you know what? You should probably get some singing lessons. That would really help you. And then I went home. And I was just kind of furious because I didn't fly down to New York to be told, you know what? You should take some singing lessons. That's my advice for you.
Right.
And I'm like, I already make a living doing this. I don't need that kind of advice from you. You could have told me that over the phone, and I'd go, thanks, and then hang up, and I'd be fine. But I flew all the way down, and then everybody in the audition, afterwards was just looking like, I don't know. I didn't. The car's here. If you want to go back to the airport. It was just the weirdest. Right. But auditions are the most unnatural thing in the world. And what I kind of learned doing all auditions, I don't know if this is what the show is about, really, but
this is great. Yeah.
What I try and do is look at it. And I don't know who told me this, but someone did, that it's your time, you're there in the room, you take the time. It's yours. If you want to stop and start again, do that. You do it whatever way you want to do it. This is your time, not theirs, And that makes it easier because you realize that, being auditioning for things, you just go in and they kind of, you get to feel like, am I fat enough? Am I thin enough? Am I tall enough? Especially with television, where it's also visual, and people just go, oh, he looks exactly right for this. And it doesn't matter what you do in the audition. Or they've already picked somebody, and they're just making sure that they've got the right person. So, you can't take it terribly personally. And I used to go and audition and then think about it afterwards, how I could have been better. Just do it. Take the part of your brain that had the stuff in it and throw it away and go home and enjoy your life. If they liked it, you'll hear from them. If they didn't, don't beat yourself up about it.
Right.
But yeah, it's one of the hardest things in the world to do. I remember one of the worst auditions. I had to, I forget the company, but I auditioned for, Third Rock from the Sun.
Oh yeah.
That show. They were getting, John Lithgow was leaving the show, and they wanted to get someone to take his place. And so they brought me in to an audition, but the audition was in somebody's office at Fox Studios, like Fox Network, and it was just somebody's office, and people were sitting in chairs haphazardly around the room, and they said, "Well, show us what you got." And I'm like, what do you mean? It was, and I didn't do well, and I just left, and I felt bad. But then you see, oh, they've cast William Shatner. I never had a chance of getting this role. Just let it go. You didn't miss an opportunity. It's all fine. Because especially in Canada, you find yourself going out for an audition and you go, geez, I hope I get this role on Star Trek. I mean, Discovery, it's going to be great if I got that. And you do your audition, and then you see the person they cast. Like, for example, I auditioned for an Andorian engineer who is a medical engineer. And then I see who they cast, and it's Tig Notaro.
Oh, nice.
And I go, am I fighting for roles with Tig Notaro? Is that what's happening in my life right now?
Yeah, it's like a
yeah.
Tig Notaro, Sean Cullen type.
We're looking for a Tig, Sean, whatever.
Right.
But a lot of time in Canada, they've already cast it, and they have to go through the motions to make sure they get their funding and everything, and then they'll just cast. So I'd say, oh, we can't find anyone as good as Tig, and then they cast what they want. So being a Canadian actor is really hard. Am I wrong?
No, yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, I mean, it's hyper competitive to begin with, where 500 people are applying for a one-liner, and only one person gets it.
And it's a one-liner.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And why do I even care? Like, the only reason you're doing it at that point is for the money. No one's going to care. Like, I auditioned for a show. It was a Canadian show. And it was for a security guard. He had a few lines. He had a name. Nice. And then they called me back and said, oh, we liked your work, but the role went to somebody else. So we have another role we'd like you to do. It's called Man with Neck Brace. And I said, oh, that sounds meaty. What is it? And it was a guy, doesn't speak, but just somebody makes a noise, and he's wearing a neck brace, and he turns his head, so they find out he's doing insurance fraud.
Gotcha.
And I just thought, I said, you know what? No. I turned it down just because it just makes me mad.
Right.
And then that they're making me audition for it. Like, I've worked for 30 years. You're going to make me audition for Man with Neck Brace? You can't figure out if I've got that range to do Man with Neck Brace? Do I have to come in and show you? And so I put it up, but this is Canada. I put up on Twitter, I think I've ruined my career. I turned down Man with Neck Brace. It kind of explained a little bit. And then immediately another actor goes, you should have taken the job. And I'm like, with people like you, what's the point? Like, we're just kind of like second-class citizens in our own industry. We're happy with that. We're happy with the one line we get in these television shows that come up and shoot. Like, everybody says it's an amazing industry. We're doing really well. Canada's just doing so well. Not Canadian actors. If you run a camera, yeah, you're doing great. If you rent a studio, you're in the pink. You're having a great time. Canadian actors aren't getting big roles. there's maybe 4 people who get roles, and then the rest are man holding donut or boy with eye missing. Anyway, I don't mean to sound too bitter, but
no. I mean, I think there's a lot to what you're saying. Earlier you mentioned not getting in your head too much about it, like do your work and then walk away. That's something that we always talk about here. Like put the prep into something, but once you audition, there's no point ruminating on it.
Yeah.
That's certainly true. And there's also something empowering. It's different strokes for different folks. There's a difference between you having to audition for something like that after 30 years versus someone who's fresh out of film and TV school.
I know.
Like which is fun because for you, like, yeah, say no to that. Why it is insulting, but then there's other people who would be like, oh my God, I'm the fucking neck brace guy on this show. This is the best thing ever. And there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place for that.
I think when you start your career, do anything, everything you're offered. Like you'll learn something, you'll meet people, you'll make connections, all of those things. Like just do any show, do any small part, do everything. But this is the problem in Canada in a lot of ways. It never gets better. Like there's for very few people, there's an upward slope, but no one, you can't negotiate. Like I've been doing this for like 35 years. I can't say to them, I want double scale. They'll just say, no, actually, we'll give it to that guy because we don't give anyone more than scale. Like, and you'd never get a raise. Nothing ever improves. Like, in fact, you get things taken away from you as time goes on. It gets weird. Like with writing, I used to write animation scripts. The first animation script I wrote, I made $10,000 for a 22-minute script. 20 years later, I was still making that. Nothing had changed. And then we negotiated a new deal, our union, and we made $8,000 a script after that. And you're just like, what is happening?
I think you got that backwards. Yeah.
And they were proud of this, that they've achieved this. And I'm like, what has happened? We just got hosed. But that's, a friend, oh God, this is terrible. I keep me sounding miserable, and I don't mean to be. If I'm being an ass, just let me know.
No, I think this is important.
Yeah. Dave, I would also like to, given that you've been in the business so long, you've probably thought of things that would help and that would change things. Is it a money thing? Is it just a regulatory thing? Is it a government thing between the US and Canada? What are the solutions you think?
Well, I think we prostrate ourselves to get American dollars into the industry. I think we make sure they have every cut and every tax break and everything like that. And then we put a stamp on it that says this is a Canadian production, but it's not. It's like there's no way Star Trek Discovery, for example, is a Canadian production. It is an American show on an American network. It's not, for Canadian consumption. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of things, but we're a small industry. We don't have a lot of people. We don't have a captive audience. Like in Australia, you're in Australia, you're far away. That whole entertainment world burgeoned out of not having anyone come to entertain you because you're so far away. Like 50 years ago, you had to make your own fun. And we've always had America telling us what entertainment is. Right. Or, what movies are. And we're trying to get our cut of that and money. And tax breaks mean that, we have to have a certain number of Canadians in the show, but we just allow that those strictures to just soften over time, and we keep giving up a little more and a little more. And like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, that Christmas special that is it's ran 1,000 years, a million times a year.
Yeah, like the claymation version one.
Yeah. Burl Ives was an American actor, so he got paid as an American actor scale. He was the snowman, and he got residuals. And he made millions off of that show. The guys who played Rudolph, the dentist, Elf, every other character were all Canadian voice actors who got paid a few $100s and bought out. And they made nothing for the rest of the time that thing has existed.
Wow.
Are we less talented? Do we deserve less? No, but that's what we got. And we just keep, it's hard. I mean, it's a huge American business. It's a huge American weight of entertainment business. And Canada, you keep trying, you're just trying to fight your corner as best you can. But I think a lot of the times we give up. We feel like I'll put it back to the guy telling me, do the neck brace job, right? There's always someone who'll do it for nothing or do it for less. And we've
Right.
we've turned that into a national behavior. You know what I mean? Like you always think, oh, if I get this, I'll get something better. Like it's good exposure or whatever. And you're like, well, for what? Because then you won't get a raise anyway in 10 years. So exposure's exposure. What does it matter? I just sound bitter, but I've had a very good time,
Right.
But I've been on both sides of an American work and American networks and see how they do it. And in Canada, it's a public service, in a weird way, to making Canada is about producers. It's not about talent. It's about people getting money from government funds to make TV. And we end up making Canada's greatest, amazing race, Canada's drag race.
Right.
Like we don't make things that are real or new, but we're doing franchise stuff. But then, the CBC does make shows, right? But they're all so niche and they feel like they're the only ones who have anybody, they can be a voice for less represented people. So now, a lot of the shows, good for them, but I don't really relate to a lot of it anymore. I'm an old white man and no one likes me. Like now when I go and audition for anything, it's always angry white man who's going to be taught a lesson by the end of this episode.
Right.
It's never a real person anymore. And you could say the same things about 50 years ago, how people were portrayed as minorities. But I just want to know why it has to completely flip. Why can't we just kind of go, oh, now everybody has things. Isn't that great? Isn't that cool? No, it can't be that way. Anyway, I'm just being a bitter old white man. Get off my lawn.
I mean, I think there's a big lesson there is that Canadian, like we're the inferiority complex with our big brothers to the south, and then there's also something to say about fighting for what you want and fighting for the career. Yeah, you can take the scraps, or you can not be happy with that and do things to change that, or create your own content these days.
Yes.
or to become like you were saying, to become the producer. Okay, I'm going to write my own thing. I'm going to write a Bible for a show. I'm going to go to networks, go to production companies, fundraise and make my own thing so that you can grab that control that you don't have as a day player actor. I will interject though. You said that you're an old white man that nobody likes you. You are beloved, and we've got some people piping up in the comments here.
Oh.
John Winchester. This is my high school history teacher at Park Street Collegiate Institute, which has been bulldozed. The building is no longer in existence. I think they renamed it now. It's Aurelia High School or something like that.
Cool.
John's a fan of you from Murdoch Mysteries.
Jeez.
And our friends at Bracebridge Hall here. They say, great to hear you. Looking forward to seeing you live again.
See, Bracebridge Hall has a vested interest.
They do. They do. So they're
not like, I hope he doesn't show up.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
guy sucks.
Can you tell us? Yeah, and obviously in Canada, these are like
Well,
age old issues that people are fighting to change. Let's talk about some of your times on set that you've enjoyed and have been unforgettable type stuff, either from back in the day. Like I know you were doing a lot of the late shows, and you were doing the Corky and Juice Pig stuff. All that is huge. What would you say? It like bucket list things, especially for comedians to be
sure.
on one of the late shows or any of the shows you pick. But I like to hear the good stuff too.
It was amazing. The way I got on the Tonight Show with Jay Leno was I came to Montreal. I was doing Just for Laughs, and I was doing musical stuff, and they were doing this bit from on the Tonight Show where they sent Fred Willard around with a few comics to people's homes. He would knock on their doors and say, "Have you been to the festival?" And they would say no, and we'd come in and they'd shoot us doing our act for people in their living room. And for me, Fred Willard, I loved him. Like, I just think
legend.
He's so wonderful. And I met him, and he was everything just wonderful, like lovely, fantastic, funny, brilliant. And then from that, they had me come on and do it a few more times to where I go and make up songs about people and get people to sing songs on the street, make up songs for whatever reason. But that was fun. And then, so that was great. Just to meet him was incredible. Then to meet Martin Mull, who is one of my favorite comics. I don't know. He was on a show called Fernwood Tonight back in the day. And him and Fred Willard were the hosts of this small town public access talk show from a town called Fernwood that was so weird, like just the weirdest. It was fantastic. And and he's one of the funniest people ever. Like I was on this Ellen DeGeneres's show. Her second sitcom called The Ellen Show. I think it was called that. Anyway, and he played the principal. And this is something I like to do ever since I saw him do it. And that in every scene that someone comes in to start with him, he's on the phone. Or
Right,
he's talking to someone outside the door. And he'll be like, just a second. So you can't put your fist in it. It gets too wet. You have to put a bag over your fist. Okay.
Right.
What? And then starts the scene, and it's hilarious. Always great.
Right. And
I love him. So that was a great moment. Having Ellen call me when I was backstage at the Last Comic Standing, and I knew I was going to lose. Like I knew I was going to be voted out. I'd figured it out by guessing who was going when in the show and the live performance portion. And I was like, that's too bad. I was 7th out of, whatever number. But Ellen DeGeneres called me and said, backstage, and said, "You're just so great. We love you. And we think you're hilarious." And I was just like, "Oh, it's really nice of you to do that." I don't know. And that made me happy. What other crazy things? That's my son. He's going to go and take a bowel movement in the kitchen. I can't train him. I cannot train him. He's untrainable.
Podcast gold. Yeah.
Podcast, if you know what I mean. No. Thank you. I'm here all week.
He still got it, folks.
Yeah. Meeting William Shatner, I only shook his hand, but I was a huge original series Star Trek fan. I just love him. Who else have I met that I absolutely loved? So great moments. Oh God! I mean, the Jay Leno show. He was nice enough, but I kind of get the feeling like he would come down behind the scenes and while you're waiting to do the show, you come into your dressing room and say, "Hey, how are you doing that? What kind of where you played around here?" Tell me a little bit about yourself. And I'd be like, oh, okay. But then I realized that he only did it so I'd ask about him and what he was doing. You know, it was weird. But I've never seen a guy who needs love more than that guy. And, you know, the way he'd come out at the beginning of the show and touch everybody and people, I don't know, it was weird. But it was fun.
We all need more hugs. That's where it all comes from. None of us got enough. None of us got enough hugs.
I know. I get it. I'm trying to. I guess when I did my first Just for Laughs gala, that was really amazing. When I signed my first deal, I met Larry David. I was working I was working on a series idea, and we were writing a pilot with Alan Zweibel, who used to write for Saturday Night Live back in the early days for Gilda Radner and stuff. And he had the office next door to Larry David, and he was working on the beginning of Curb Your Enthusiasm. So he'd just come into the office where we were working and hang around, and I didn't know what the hell was going on at that point. I didn't realize how huge he would be. So that was nice. I auditioned for that, didn't get it, but it was still nice to just go in and improvise with them, and that was really fun.
Yeah, that's great.
Lots of great, wonderful experiences, you know. And you got to enjoy them. The good ones, really appreciate them. The bad ones, just forget them, you know.
I'm curious. Did you say you're from Peterborough?
Yes.
Peterborough. So we share a lake. I'm an Aurelia boy.
Oh,
Lake
yeah.
Couchiching. Yeah.
Oh, I've been to Lake Couchiching camp.
Yeah.
It's wonderful there.
I'm curious. Your brain is. I did a Zoom show with you about a year ago, which that's a whole separate thing that we can talk about another time. But we did it for Black Sheep. I think it was Black Sheep Comedy. They do a lot of shows for breweries, and then during the pandemic, we did some Zooms. And I remember just watching you, and I'm like, man, I just love this guy's brain. It was so wacky and so silly. Where did that come from when you were younger? Was it a theater teacher, or was it someone in your family, or what was your original exposure, or was it TV shows like SCTV or whatever?
Well, SCTV is more like a satire show. There's some funny, like weird things in it. For me, watching things like Monty Python was how I started really loving comedy. And at the time, Steve Martin, Robin Williams, just really frenetic and weird. And I've always loved like Peter Sellers, just strange. And I really love the idea. My dream would be to have no material and just come out and improvise a whole show and just talk about whatever comes into my mind. I love stream of consciousness. I love disassociative things. Like I read a lot and I take in all these different bits of information, and then I just let them, simmer in there. And then I just spew them out and then try and justify that they belong together in some way or not, just whatever's the funniest way to do things. And so I've never really, I don't think of myself really as a stand-up comic. I kind of am a cabaret performer and I don't know what it would be called, but it's like, I don't really write jokes. I don't love being confined to, jokes. It's really hard for me, like to do Just for Laughs and do The Southern Lawyer. And I was like, I had to find a way you get 8 minutes,
Right.
And so I had to come up with one bit that was 8 minutes long, and you had to repeat it. Like you just couldn't, whenever you do these television shows, like where they tell you got 12 minutes, they won't allow you to just go out and freak out. You have to just, you have to send them the material. They approve it. They tell you how long it is and how, and it's not fun. I don't love that. I love just living in the moment. And that's what that's where I always love science fiction and weird things, and but I guess it comes from absurdity and Monty Python. I think that was my first love, was Monty Python, and the early days of Saturday Night Live with Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi and Bill Murray,
Right.
where it was a little more out there, like a little. Now it's very corporate, could be like it's very packaged. Then it was like, oh, you could see backstage, there's a hole in the set or whatever, and it was just really seat of the pants, and that was really fun. But yeah, I guess that's where it comes from. I don't know.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
We've got a little bit of a synchronicity. You mentioned your role in the producers.
Oh,
As luck would have it, Brandon Knox, our co-host here, it was his birthday on Wednesday, and no, today's Wednesday. It was his birthday on Monday, and I gave him Mel Brooks's
All About Me
autobiography. Yeah. And Brandon is also in a pantomime coming up here. And Brandon played your son on a television show way back in the day.
What was
so
it?
My question is Brandon Knox your son?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes.
I see.
Do you want to take a guess as to what show it was, Sean?
It wasn't Dino Dan, was it?
No.
Jeez. I don't. Oh, it wasn't like Odd Squad, was it?
No. It
It's
starts
a
with
way
a
early-
W.
Whoopi Whipples? I've done too many things. I don't.
It was
remember anything.
Whoopi Wiggles.
Whoopi Wiggles. Love that show. Love it. What was
It was
it?
Working Moms.
Oh, You Were My Son.
Yeah, we killed a rhino together.
Yeah, that's right. That's where I know you from. All we did together was pose for a non-existent rhino with our feet resting on a non-existent dead rhino together.
Yeah.
It was dumb, but it was good. We're once again, I'm a white guy that everybody hates. But I don't mind playing that as long as it's funny.
Right.
It's not as long as it's not just like a cookie cutter piece of anyway.
And no rhinos were harmed in the filming of that episode.
Oh no, I killed one.
Oh, you did. Oh yeah. He's method. Yeah.
Not only that,
I remember one take you improvised rhino steaks for everyone.
Yes. I was trying to.
I just remember looking over at you like,
why?
This is why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Rhino steaks.
Rhino steaks with some of the horn sprinkled on top of it. You grind up the horn. I think it's an I've heard it's an aphrodisiac.
Boner time. Boner time. Rampant.
Rhino-sized boners.
Yes, for sure.
Great.
Oh yeah,
it's great. You might have touched it on it already, Sean, but we always like to ask, what's your dream project or role? If Netflix is like, here, Sean, here's your 50 million. What are you making with that? Or no money, and we're in the global apocalypse, and you have no money, but you get to do what you want.
Doesn't have to be billions of dollars. I would like to just do something. I can't tell people because then they'll steal it from me. But I just want to do something that's very small, but focused and free of. I had an idea called Chip Truck, where it's two brothers who have inherited a chip truck. Those ones by the side of the road. You see them in Muskoka all the time.
Yeah.
And they are purists. They like all they serve is chips. You can't get anything else. Just salted or with vinegar.
Mm-hmm.
Chips. And they live in the chip truck upstairs in a chip truck. And they have tiny little bunks. And it's just them dealing with each other in a tiny space. And then people come to the little window and you sell them chips. And they say, is there ketchup? We say, no. And that's it. Like weird, intensely weird people I'm always interested in people who believe, like, and have an incredible commitment, and
Right.
that's what makes I like Will Ferrell, say, because he's so committed to everything he does
Right.
that you can't help but laugh at it because it's just so intense.
Right.
And that kind of belief and commitment really makes me laugh. I think it's a great source of comedy. So little projects like that, I think I'd
love
like
it.
to do. Yeah.
I know you work with a lot of, you've done a lot of shows and you work with him often. Chris Locke, who's
Yes.
a regular around here. We had him on a couple episodes ago. I would see him as your Chip brother would be.
That's who I said.
You two would
That's
be a
why-
great combo.
That's why Chip. I
I would watch that.
Oh,
And
yeah.
you're probably getting a little high on your own supply from time to time, like your entire diet is chips yourselves too.
We just have zits on the corners of our mouths all the time. Zits.
Zit mustache.
Yeah, it's not good, but it'll be funny.
The truck also runs on like biodiesel, so you're running the truck on the same oil that you're boiling the
and our feces
potatoes in. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Maybe you train a seagull to come up to your chip truck.
It's a closed environment.
Right.
What do you call it? A closed system. Our feces and urine.
Right. Nothing
waste
leaves.
Products.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Everything
like
is
The
used.
Martian, like Matt Damon in The Martian, where he grows
right.
potatoes out of his own poop. And yeah.
Well, what other way is there? I mean, seriously.
Great. Well, you hear this? CTV, Canadian broadcasters, Canadian producers, Netflix, give them the money already.
Give me the money. Give it to
Chips.
me. Chips. Chip truck is coming your way.
Chip truck.
Yeah.
Love it. What about for someone who's been in the business as long as you have, that gives you some time perspective? Any advice for your past artist self or for someone new?
Don't waste any time. Don't expect anybody to do it for you. You really, if you say to someone, I'd really like to do that, no one's stopping you but you. So go out and do it. Be busy every day. I think that's what I would say.
I like that.
Nice.
Well, where's Chip Truck? It starts with the truck. We got to source the truck and potatoes, maybe some oil.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rest takes care of itself.
Not completely necessary, the oil. I don't know.
Right. Okay.
That's where it starts to get expensive.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yes. All right. One other question. I just getting back to auditions. I know that here we help people with their auditions here at Actors Audition Club. So we like to just talk. Is there about your process? Like if you not to get too hoity-toity about it, but you get an audition from your agent, you got the script pages. What happens between the time you get it to the time that you shoot it or do an in-person audition?
Well, I usually read it first and try and figure out what, like, the script says this is what happens between these people. Mm-hmm. But is there something underneath that is you want to accomplish? What does the character want to accomplish with this scene? In the scene, what does your character want? And how do they try to get it? Right? So that's the little map that you try and make. And so I read it a few times. Then I might leave it for a day if I have a couple of days before the audition. Then come back to it and then learn the lines, have them in your mind as best you can. And I think the biggest thing is to find what the character wants. Like that's what all stories are about. Characters wanting different things and how they butt up against each other, and that's drama. That's
right.
That's life and excitement. Yeah.
Great. Love it. You talked about it briefly, but maybe let's dive a little deeper just because I know it's beloved. James Kuffner asked, what about his time with Corky and the Juice Pigs?
Yeah.
How did that start? I know that when I was younger, I was aware of Corky and the Juice Pigs I think I saw the Just for Laugh galas. I think you were featured on Mad TV a handful of times, but how did that come together? And maybe some people want to know will there ever be a reunion tour? Does the band ever get back together?
I don't plan on being in a reunion situation. I don't like to go backwards. I don't know. I imagine people would like to see it.
Oh, people would
I,
love it. Yeah.
I don't know. I just it seems to me to be something I've done and I don't want to go back to. I want to make things new things, you know. But there's some songs that are just people love them, and you know, and we meant a lot to some people. There's a certain group of people who were in universities and stuff. That's where we toured mostly in Canada. Um, but how did we start? We were in University of Windsor. We were all taking acting there, and there was a contest by Crystal Beer, Labatt's Crystal, that was trying. Oh, Schooner. It was Schooner. That's right. It was a weird beer, and they said we would like to. They came around to all the universities and did heats for a comedy contest, and I did it with the guys. We threw together something. I remember we did the Flintstones theme and asked questions about, and did the Weebles and Weeble song and stuff like that. And we had nothing really. It wasn't a great show, but it was energetic and really in your face. And we all wore the same shirt, and it was fun. And we won our heat, but we lost overall. The show was. Then they had the finals on the Global, hosted by Bobby Bittman, a character of Levi. What's his name? Levy. Eugene Levy character.
Yeah.
So we did that, and we didn't win. We came in third or something, but we decided to, you know, let's give this a try, and we went down to the Yuck Yucks, and we tried that, and we did well. And then we realized we weren't going to make any money at Yuck Yucks because they would only pay you one guy's salary, and they'd split it 3 ways. So we did one tour across the country in Yuck Yucks, and then we found an agent, and got into something at the time that was not all the people were doing, which was universities. So we go across the country doing universities, and that we toured and toured and toured. And then we started getting into festivals. We went to the Edinburgh Festival, the Fringe Festival, one of the first Canadian groups to go over there and do that. And now lots of people do. So we got touring in Britain and in London and England. And then we got asked to do the Melbourne Comedy Festival. We did that. And that was really fun. And, you know, we just started touring in those 3 markets, Canada, and we tried to get into America. But the thing was, we had a deal briefly with Disney to come up with some kind of show, but they wanted us to be the Three Stooges, right? Mm-hmm. And we're like, we're not really that. No one knew what to do with us. No one had any idea what to do with this. Like the trope at the time was stand up who has jokes about this topic, and we could turn that into a sitcom. Like if you're Ray Romano, right, you talk about your weird family. If you're Tim Allen, about men using tools, and they make that into a series. We didn't fit that mold at all. So we kind of hit a place, and then a friend of ours, Brian Hart, who was the executive producer of Mad TV, he called us and said, would you guys do Mad TV? Would you guys do songs on Mad TV? And so we did about 6 episodes, maybe 8, and it was really reached a lot of people. Mad TV was great. It was kind of like Saturday Night Live is kind of restricted by being live, right? So they can't do pre-tapes, and they can't do that sort of thing. So we would just come on and do our songs, and that went really well. But we were kind of reaching a place where we kind of, I don't know, I felt that we'd done everything we could do without killing each other at that point. I was tired. I was tired of that dynamic, right, you know? Right. And so I just did my own one-man show called Wood, Cheese, and Children, and it kind of took off from there. But the Juice Pigs was fun, but we were too weird. And I too weird for the mainstream, right? And that's all there was back then. There was 4 networks. There was no YouTube. There was no online stuff. And now, like, you could have a life on the YouTube, and you can have a whole career, and you can reach everybody all over the world. And we were just too fringe, and there was no way of getting on the inside. And now it's viable, and so that's too bad. But yeah, we had a good time. We did a lot of wonderful things.
For those people keeping track at home, were you Corky or one of the Juice Pigs?
No, there was no Corky. We were all Juice Pigs.
Corky didn't exist.
No, he was kind of like Charlie from Charlie's Angels. He was like through a speakerphone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Also, another fun fact here with Brandon Knox. I think we might need this paternity test. Brandon also went to Windsor, didn't you, Brandon?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, well, I never finished. I left.
I didn't finish either. Oh my God. Holy shit.
How
we live the same life?
How far did you make it?
I finished my 4th year, and then I think I was 2 or 3 credits shy.
Oh, I finished my 3rd year, and they started failing me on everything because one of my teachers really didn't like my attitude. Diana Mady Kelly, who was the head of the school at the time, she just did not cotton to me. And so she gave me a hard time. And I just said, is anyone going to ask for my acting degree in the acting world? No.
Yeah.
So
I've never once had to show it. Yeah.
So I just started working, and I never really looked back.
She was retired by the time I had gotten there. She came back to do some audition stuff, but
like she would know.
But she didn't really do much around there. I sort of figured out her system and was like, oh, okay, I know exactly what she is looking for.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it. You guys can share that off air. I'm sure there's more stories. What did I want to say? Just we'll start to wrap up. But another thing that a lot of people don't know, Sean, or may not know, is that you're also an award-winning author for your Hamish X series and the Chronicles of the Misplaced Prince novels. And you've got something else that's being published and coming out soon. Let's talk about that.
Find it. I've got it in my vast office.
Perfect.
Let me just find it. Yes, here it is. There we go. This is my newest book. It's called, I don't know if you'd read it, The Book of Justin, A Lost Gospel. So it's a gospel about it's supposedly written by one of the lost apostles. And so it's kind of like a different take on Jesus' life, because Justin would follow around the apostles at a stone's throw distance because they would throw stones at him. And he didn't come closer than that. So, it's just a different take. I'll do a couple of them. Maybe you can give me an idea.
Little reading. And this is out now? Yeah.
You can get it from Friesen Press or at Amazon. And I'm kind of trying to get it in bookstores, but we'll see. Verse 2. In the fields there were shepherds abiding with their flocks by night. And lo, the angel of the Lord appeared to them. And a choir of angels filled the sky. And the angel of the Lord spoke to the shepherds in a great voice, proclaiming, Lo, I bring great tidings of great joy. For in Bethlehem, in the city of David, a Savior is born unto you, and his name is Christ the Lord. And the shepherds, terrified out of their wits, ran screaming into the night in fear for their lives. So the angel of the Lord and the heavenly choir found another group of shepherds, and the angel of the Lord spoke much more softly to them, saying, Listen, don't be afraid. Go see the baby in the manger in Bethlehem. I promise you'll have a good time. Seriously. Trust me. It's just a little baby. And the shepherds, though puzzled and a bit wary, did as they were instructed. Let he who has ears to hear, hear. Let's see, maybe one more. Jesus spoke to a woman. This is number 11. Jesus spoke to a woman saying, blessings upon you, woman, for you have nothing in this world, but in the world to come you will have everything. And she rejoiced and fell into a hole. Let he who has ears to hear, hear. So that's a little story.
Nice.
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 So go
Check
see
out The Book of Justin.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much, Sean, for being on today.
Pleasure.
You're beloved in not just Canadian comedy, but global Canadian comedy. You're a beloved performer, and you've done so much. So we appreciate you taking the time today.
Okay.
And for those in the Muskoka area, one more plug here. This coming up Friday, March 31st at 8 p.m. We're going to be at Bracebridge Hall. You can grab tickets at laughingvikings.com. You can also grab them at bbhall.ca. And we're going to be there. And tickets, Little Birdie told me tickets are going fast. It's a small, intimate venue. So you want to get them now. Anything you want to say to the people in Bracebridge, Sean?
Listen, bring your braces. Meet me at the bridge. All right? We'll brace ourselves on the bridge. Oh, listen, you'll have a good time. You know, it'll be fun. Don't be afraid. You'll love it.
You will love it. Laughing
Bring your
Vikings
braces.
present Sean Cullen. But bring the braces.
Yeah.
We'll see you at the bridge.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Sean. I'll see you. I'll
you.
see you March 31st, if not sooner.
Yes.
And thanks to all our listeners. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. This has been episode 131 of Inside the Audition.
Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.